Oi, oi, oi! Hello, everyone! Tudo bom, gente? Welcome to this Q&A. I'm very excited to be here with you today. So, if you're new to my channel and to my Instagram, I want you to know that every Tuesday I publish a new lesson on my YouTube channel, and every Thursday I have this Q&A to talk about the lesson and answer your questions, okay? So I'm here to answer your questions about Portuguese, about the new lesson, or any other question that you have regarding learning Portuguese or learning languages. Ok, so who is here? Mônica, tudo bom, Mônica? Mônica está sempre aqui. Marcos, Jacob, Kitty, da Tailândia, que legal. Douglas, tudo bom, Mário? Muito bom, excelente. Então Mário está nos lembrando, so Mário is reminding us that April in Brazil is the month of the indigenous people. So we celebrate on April 19th the indigenous people in Brazil, and we call it Dia do Índio. But the best word to talk to refer to indigenous in Portuguese is indígena, indígena. Muito bom, Mário, excelente. Olá, Iwan. Muito bom, gente. So good to see you today, to be here with you today. So before we start talking about the last lesson, so the last lesson was about Chinese words that we use in Portuguese. It was interesting to make this video because actually I talked with a Chinese teacher who lives in Brazil. She is Chinese and she moved to Brazil when she was very young. And she speaks Portuguese really well, and she invited me to record videos with her, and I thought it was fun to talk a little bit about Chinese words that we use in Brazil. So if you have not watched the video yet, go take a look. It's available on my YouTube channel. If you're watching me on Instagram, my YouTube channel is Speaking Brazilian. It's very easy to find. Okay, so I'm live in two places today, YouTube and Instagram. And okay, so before we start talking about Chinese words that we use in Portuguese, I want to remind you that next week, actually starting this Sunday, we are going to have the next Brazilian Portuguese week, which is a very fun event to learn Portuguese. So if you want to boost your Portuguese, or if you are a beginner and you want to get started with your Portuguese, or if your level is already intermediate and you just want to review some things and practice and have fun, I recommend you join the Brazilian Portuguese Week. I'm going to show you where you can sign up for the event. It's completely free, and during 1 week I'm going to teach one live class a day, so 7 classes in 7 days. You can sign up for free on my website, brasilianportugueseweek.com. Okay, so this is the site that I created specifically for this event. I'm going to share my screen with you. You can see it if you are on YouTube. So brasilianportugueseweek.com. If you go to this website, you see you can sign up for free. Just click here. And you can also see the entire program of the week. I'm very excited about it. So most of the classes are beginner level, but I also have some intermediate level classes, okay? And all classes are good as a review, even if you have been studying Portuguese for a while. So the first lesson will be about verb conjugation for beginners. The second lesson about sentence structure in Portuguese. The third lesson about the pronunciation of the letter R, which I receive questions about this all the time. The fourth lesson will be about prepositions. The fifth lesson will be intermediate level class, 100% in Portuguese, about compound tenses. The sixth lesson would be about idiomatic expressions, also intermediate level. And the last lesson will be about study tips, and I'll be available also to answer questions. Okay, so go check it out and sign up for free and add it to a calendar from April 25th to May 1st. Every day, 2 p.m. New York time, we have the class. But if you miss the class, if you cannot attend the live class, you can watch a replay on the website. Tá bem? Muito bom, gente. So the next thing that I want to talk to you before we start talking about the lesson is to remind you also that my next courses, my classes start in May. So I only open enrollment every 3 or 4 months because I work with a small team and I don't offer courses every month. So if you want to learn Portuguese with me and my team, this is the opportunity to join one of our courses. I offer 4 different courses for different levels. If you want to learn more, just go to my website, speakingbrazilian.com, click on courses, and you'll see all the courses. And if you click on each one of them, you'll learn more about it. And I also can answer questions about that if you have questions today. Ok, muito bom, gente. See your comments here. Muito bom. Excelente. So let's start talking about the lesson. Just one last announcement. If you guys know, if you are watching me on YouTube, don't forget to follow my new Instagram account, Virginia_Langhammer is just my name. As I told you last week, my former account, the Speaking Brazilian School account, was canceled. No idea why, but anyway, I have this new account now, and I recommend you follow. I've been posting tips on Portuguese, and I'll try to create more interesting content. If you like Instagram, it's a good account to follow for those who are learning Portuguese. Okay, guys, so let's talk a little bit about the last lesson that I published, which was about Chinese words used in Portuguese. So I want to know from you guys, what words do you remember? What words did I use in the video that you knew, or words that you did not? So the catch is saying that the volume is very low. Is everyone having the same problem? Because I'm using the same microphone that I always use. If you're having troubles listening to me, let me know so I can see if I can fix that. Okay? Muito bom, gente. So, okay, let me just check my microphone. Should be working normally. Ok, muito bom. Então vamos lá. So one of the words of Chinese origin that we talked about is the word, a very, very common word. Okay, so everyone is listening well. Okay, so take a look at your who said the volume is low? The catch. I think it is probably your laptop, so take a look at that. Muito bom. Everyone else is listening. Ótimo. Muito bom. So the first word is cha. Cha. How do you write that? C-H-A. So be careful, because in other languages, usually the C-H sounds like ch. In Portuguese, nope. In Portuguese, it's sh. Is the S-H sound, right? So every time you see the letter C-H in Portuguese, remember the sound, the pronunciation is sh. Okay, sha, sha. And we write that with the acute accent at the end. And this word comes from Chinese, but of course they pronounce in a different way. If you want to learn the pronunciation in Chinese, I'm not going to teach you that because I don't speak Chinese, but teacher Xiaofan, she teaches the pronunciation in the video, so go watch the video, okay? So this is the first word, sha, sha. What is the other word that we mentioned? I have lots of comments here. So Monica is saying feng shui, feng shui. So one funny, interesting thing about this is that we pronounce the G, right? So in Portuguese, whenever we have a consonant that is left by itself at the end of a word, in Brazil, we tend to add this E sound at the end, right? So this is very common. I don't think they do that in Portugal, but in Brazil, we always do that. So feng, feng shui, feng shui. So it sounds like there is a vowel at the end of the letter G, even though there isn't. So feng shui, feng shui. Muito bom. So interesting comment, Jacob, about the tri-T. Yes, so I'm really not sure if the origin of the word is Chinese or it comes from India, because also we have this word chai, which comes from very old languages in India. So it's really difficult for me to tell. But according to my research, it's from China, so I don't know. So in India, they use this word chai, which also means tea. Muito bom. Okay, so what is the other word in Portuguese that we use? So we have also the word, I see that someone commented here, ping-pong. So this is a fun word because in Brazil we say ping-pong, and we do write it with the G-U-E at the end, right? So the pronunciation is ping-pongi, very clear pronunciation of the G at the end, which is very different from English and the other languages, right? Ping-pong, ping-pong. Portuguese, ping-pongi, ping-pongi, which is the table tennis. They have the similar word in Chinese. And the word kung fu. Kung fu also is this word that we use everywhere, right? Because it's the name of the martial art. But in Brazil, how we pronounce it? Remember the G sound? Kung, kung fu, kung fu. So there is this G sound at the end. Muito bom. What else? What other word did I mention in the video? Okay. Also, if you have any questions, guys, about pronunciation or about Portuguese, let me know. Okay. Looking for your comments. Yes. Virginia, como se... So I'm not sure what you mean with this question. Mike, would like to elaborate? Okay, so another word, yes, tai chi chuan, tai chi chuan. I don't remember the list of the words. I forgot to write it down, so I need your help, guys. So tai chi, just tai chi or tai chi chuan, tai chi chuan. So again, we write it with the ch, but we don't pronounce ch. We pronounce sh. Tai chi chuan, tai chi chuan. So this is how we pronounce this word in Portuguese, which is also a different kind of martial arts, right? Tai chi chuan. And we have the word ginseng, ginseng. This is an interesting one. There is the G at the end, but we don't say ginsengi, as far as I know. We usually say ginseng. I think we got this pronunciation from English, maybe, I don't know. Ginseng, ginseng, the name of the root. And just a reminder of pronunciation as well of the letter G. We never pronounce, in Brazil, we never pronounce the G like this. No, it's J, ginseng. It's like a continuous sound, like J, ginseng, ginseng. Not ginseng, no, ginseng. Muito bom. What else, guys? What other word in Chinese you know that are used in Portuguese? Because I know there are many words in Chinese, but I don't speak Chinese, so I cannot help you with that. Looking for questions. Alguma palavra em vez de... I'm not sure I understand your question. Alguma palavra em vez de... would like to elaborate. I don't understand what you mean with this question. I have another question here from Margus. Margus is asking, qual palavra é mais usada como add, in the place of add, adicionar ou acrescentar? Both words are used a lot, commonly used, adicionar, vou acrescentar. So if you're using in the context of math, if you're talking about mathematics, you should always use the verb adicionar. This is the most common one. But if you're using in other contexts, any other context, both words are used. Vou adicionar, vou acrescentar. They are very common. So for instance, if you're cooking and you're going to add something to the pan, you could use both verbs. I need to add salt. Preciso adicionar sal. Preciso acrescentar sal. In this context, we could also use the verb colocar, which means to put. So they are synonyms. Yeah. Very good question, Margos. Any other questions, guys? You can ask me anything related to Portuguese or pronunciation. Let me know. What other words of Chinese origin do you know? Oh, I have a fun question here. How to pronounce, this is one of the biggest, largest words in Portuguese. Otorrinolaringologista. Okay, guys, can you say that at home? Let's try it. Otorrino. I'm going to say it very slowly so you can follow me. Otorrinolaringologista. Otorrinolaringologist is the doctor, right, that takes care of several things like eyes, ears, nose, everything. Otorrinolaringologista. This is a big, big, big word. Muito bom. What else? Qual é a diferença entre tudo e todo? This is a good question. I made a video about this. Go take a look for, type on YouTube, speaking Brazilian, tudo, and you find the video. But I'm gonna answer this question briefly. Tudo, if you speak English, tudo means everything. Todo means every or all. If you remember that, you know how to use these words, okay? Tudo is the opposite of nothing. Tudo is the opposite of nada. And the word tudo never changes. It's invariable. There is no variation. There is no plural, singular, feminine, or masculine. It's always tudo, tudo. The word todo varies. It can be masculine, it can be feminine, it can be plural, because it is always used with a noun, and it has to agree with the noun, okay? So if you say, for instance, todo mundo, everyone, todo mundo. If you say, todas as pessoas, like all the people, todas as pessoas. If you want to say, I ate all the chocolate, eu comi todo o chocolate. I have to use the masculine because the word chocolate is masculine. Or if you want to say, I ate all the pizza, eu comi toda a pizza. So a pizza, because it is feminine, so you should use the word toda. Okay, I ended up talking a lot about the words todo and tudo. Go take a look at my video. I give you a lot of examples in my video on YouTube. Another question. Por que o português do Brasil é mais comum que o português do Portugal? I don't know. Why Brazilian Portuguese is more common, guys? What do you think? Help me answer this question. I think because Brazil is bigger. We have over 2 million people in Brazil. That's a lot. You know, Portugal is much smaller. So I think that's one of the reasons. The size of the country and the number of people, right? So maybe that's why. Muito bom. Pronúncia. So how to pronounce the word capoeira? 2 different ways, because in this word, the word O can be pronounced as U or O, depending on the accent. Capoeira, capoeira, or capoeira, capoeira. I think the second one is more common, sounds more natural. Capoeira, capoeira. Okay. Looking for more questions. I see some questions here on Instagram. I'll go back to YouTube in a minute. So, palavra alternativa para sozinha, sozinha. So this is an interesting word, sozinha. Sozinha means alone. We also use the word só, S-O, só, só. So, for instance, if you want to say, I'm alone right now. I'm at home alone. You could say, eu estou sozinha. Sozinha is the feminine word. So if you're a man, you should say, eu estou sozinho, with the O at the end. Okay, eu estou sozinha, eu estou sozinho. But you could also say, estou só. Eu estou só. I'm alone. But in the context of the word alone, I think sozinho and sozinha are more commonly used. But you could use the word só as well. Muito bom. Looking for more questions here. I'm trying to understand this question. Eu vou a trabalhar or should I not? Okay, I understand the question. So in Brazil, in Portuguese, we don't use the preposition when you're talking about future tense. When you say, I am going to work or I will work, eu vou trabalhar. There's no preposition. This preposition is from Spanish. Be careful. You are mixing Portuguese with Spanish. So in Spanish, we say, voy a trabajar. Voy a trabajar. In Portuguese, vou trabalhar. There is no preposition between the verb vou and the verb trabalhar. No preposition. So remember that. That question comes because Portuguese and Spanish are so similar. Muito bom. Conhece algum... So you're asking about a dictionary of indigenous words. If you look online, you find some websites with lists of indigenous words. I don't know any dictionary. Of course, the words from indigenous origin, they are used in Brazilian Portuguese, you will find in Brazilian dictionaries. Okay, so the dictionary that I use every day, Brazilian dictionary, is the one, it's online and it's free. It's called Aulete, aulete.com.br, aulete.com.br. Okay, this is very good. You find it's a Brazilian Portuguese dictionary. So you find also indigenous words that are used in Brazilian Portuguese. But if you go Palavras indigenous no Brasil, you find a lot of websites that have a list of indigenous words. Jururu is a really fun word. I agree with you. Muito bom. Looking for more questions. So Douglas, I think you're referring to when you're talking about the hours, to say the time, right? When do you use the 24-hour system in Brazil? We use it in a lot of more formal situations. So for instance, if you're making an appointment to go to a doctor, usually you're going to use the 24-hour. So your appointment is tomorrow at 14 hours. It means 2 p.m. So we use that in this context, more formal context. So if you are making an appointment, you are scheduling something. So to avoid confusion with time, it is very common to use the 24-hour clock to schedule things in Portuguese, even speaking or in writing, okay? But usually when you're talking just with friends in a very informal situation, we don't use it. We just use it is really implied by the context. If you're talking about morning or night, for instance, if you say, oh, today I woke up at 8, we're obviously talking about 8 a.m., right? So you don't have to be like, or if you say, oh, yesterday I went to bed at 10, it is obviously 10 at night. So most of the time we just say, eu fui dormir às 10 da noite. We also use a lot the phrase of the morning or in the night, 10 da manhã, 10 da noite. We say that a lot in Portuguese. But when you are scheduling something, usually we use the 24-hour clock. And also if you go to travel, all the companies, they use the 24-hour clock, right? They say the time of the flights or the trains or the bus is always in 24-hour. So I think that sums up. Muito bem, procurando por mais perguntas, looking for more questions, guys. Muito bom. So if you are on Instagram, if you want to ask me questions, it's really hard for me to read the comments, so you have to use the question mark tool. Okay, click on the question mark thing and then type your question there so I can see your question, okay? And if you are on YouTube, if I have not answered your question yet, you can just copy and paste again because it is also hard for me to read all the comments. So question from Liam, are the Chinese words used in Brazilian Portuguese also used in European Portuguese? I'm not 100% sure, but I think they are, because actually you see all these words that I mentioned in the video, they're pretty much common. They're very common even in other languages, right? So I think these words, they are used in a lot of languages, not only Portuguese. So I think they're also used in European Portuguese, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll need someone from Portugal to answer this question. Muito bom. Looking for more questions, guys. Muito bom, muito bom. Okay, so I'm gonna see questions here on Instagram. You guys have so many questions today. That's good. So this question is interesting, the difference between these two words, huin and mau with L, right? So these both words, they are the opposite of well, the opposite of the well, the opposite of bem in Portuguese. I'm mixing Portuguese and English in my head now. So huin and mau, they are both used and they're synonyms. However, in Brazil, most of the time we use the word huin. The meaning is the same, but we use the word huin. We don't use the word mau with the L commonly. It's not very common. I don't know why. It's just how we use the language. Maybe in Portugal they use the word mau with the L more commonly. Maybe because the word mau with L and mau with U, they are the pronunciation in Brazil is the same, so maybe because of that we ended up using a different word to avoid confusion. I don't know, but the word huin is much, much more common. Okay? Muito bom. Looking for more questions. Alternativa para a palavra tomara. So tomara has the same meaning as eu espero que. Espero que, I hope that. Same meaning. Tomara, I hope so. Tomara, espero que sim. Ou espero que, you can complete the sentence. You can use this word in every time you want to say, I hope that happens, I hope that. You can use the word tomara in Portuguese. Actually, the word tomara is more informal. And if you want to be more formal, you should use the phrase eu espero que, I hope that. Remember to use subjunctive tense with this word. Okay, it is mandatory. Present subjunctive tense is mandatory. Okay, guys, so many questions. Okay. So Natalie has an interesting question. Ma is the same thing as mal with L? No. So ma is the feminine word. It means the same thing as mal with u. So mal with u is the masculine word, and ma, just ma, is the feminine word. So it is an adjective. So you have feminine and masculine. Okay, so it is the opposite of mal with u. I know this is confusing because ma, we have two words mal in Portuguese. We have mal with L means, and the translation into English also is like bad, is also the same translation, so this is very confusing. I should probably make a video about this. So ma is the opposite of mal with the letter u. Okay, it's the feminine word. So if you want to say like she is bad, you should say ela é má, feminine. Muito bom. Tenho que usar o subjuntivo com tomara também? Yes. So the word tomara, I hope so, requires the use of present subjunctive tense. It is mandatory. We have to. Okay, muito bom. Okay, let me see more questions here. So an interesting question about preconceito linguístico. So this is something that we have a lot everywhere. We have this a lot in Brazil and also everywhere, right? So it is like prejudice against linguistic prejudice. I don't know if we use this phrase in English. So it's prejudice against someone who doesn't speak perfect English or perfect Portuguese. Yeah, this is very common in Brazil. And I think it is complicated because, of course, I love Portuguese and I think our language is beautiful, and I really would love that people spoke perfect Portuguese because it's such a beautiful language. And when I teach my courses, I do my best to teach correct Portuguese. However, there are so many, the language is alive, right? So we cannot say that one thing that millions of people speak, it is incorrect. It doesn't make any sense because the grammar is based on, the grammar was created to organize the language that is spoken, not the opposite, right? So the grammar was created to create a system and to help us teach the children, but we should not be slaves to the grammar, right? If the language naturally evolves in a different way, I think we should respect that. We should not be, who am I to say that something that thousands and millions of people say it is wrong just because it is not in the grammar. So I think what happens naturally is that after some years, the things that are considered wrong, one day they are added to the grammar because the grammarians, they have to accept that is the correct language now. So yeah, so that's my opinion about this topic. Okay, what else, guys? Oh, okay, so we can say linguistic prejudice in English. Perfect. Excelente. So questions, se eu passo o curso para iniciantes, recebo certificado. So yes, Margus, if you take my beginner's course, at the end of the course you can take a final quiz And if you complete the quiz, if you take at least 70% of the quiz, you receive a certificate of completion of the course. Very good. Question. Muito bom, gente. Excelente. I see that you guys have more questions, but I have to go. It was very good to spend time with you today. So next week, I won't have this Q&A at 12 p.m. because I'll have the live class at 2 p.m. actually as part of the Brazilian Portuguese week. I won't have this event on Instagram, so you have to join the course, okay? You have to sign up for the course at BrazilianPortugueseWeek.com. It's a free course, and if you sign up, you have access to material, and I'll always have this small Q&A session at the end of each class, so be able to ask a lot of questions and learn a lot of Portuguese. Okay, guys, so I hope I'll see you during the Brazilian Portuguese week. And so it starts this Sunday, from April 25th to May 1st, every day at 2 p.m. I'll have the class, and I'll also have access to a replay of the class and downloadable material available on the courses page. Okay, so I'll see you on Sunday. Beijo, boa quinta-feira para vocês. Tchau, tchau!